Hello again, Super Mega Baseballers. This is Eric, friendly neighborhood logo maker, and this is another non-logo video that I'm going to do. And this one's going to be about what I would love to see added to this game. I love this game to no end. It is my favorite game to play. To me, it's honestly the best baseball game that's out there right now. Gameplay-wise, it's just an awful lot of fun. And it's visually a beautiful game. It's not a simulation, it is an arcade game, and so I take that into account. And a lot of stuff that I've talked about in Reddit or Facebook forums, I've had conversations with other people. We kind of feel around the same way about what we would like to see in this game to make it even better. And a lot of it does seem to revolve around simulation stuff. And I get that's because we're trying to do seasons and things like that. So let's get into a couple of things that I would love to see added to this game. Now, since I do a lot of logos, let's talk with that first. I would like to see us to be able to do some kind of texture, maybe a little bit more. I'd love to have more layers, to be honest. I think I can do some pretty wicked stuff. Give me 16 more layers and I'll make you some professional looking ones. I'll be perfectly honest there. I think that would be pretty wild. I'd like to see a few more uniform styles, get a little crazy out there. I would like to see more player customization, more face options, hair color options, body types. For the most part, I don't think there's it's pretty nice the way it is, except that it would be nice if we could sit there and when you start talking about, I've got like well over 200 teams, and there's only so many body types and so many faces and so many hairdos that you can do. It's like you're talking what, 3,000-4,000 players. It's like, just maybe add a little bit more. If they could do that, that would be fantastic. That's really about it for. I would like to maybe the ability to reshape some shapes. Like if I want something that's got a little bit more curve or things like that, I think that would be great. If we go to, I would love, and I know this is a big ask. I'd love to have 32 stadiums. The reason why is if you're doing a full season, it would be really cool if every team had their own stadium. Even if you just took some of these and made some tweaks here and there to turn Founders, and maybe make a couple of changes and change the way things look up and kind of do the same basic thing, but you can make another stadium out of this. I think that would be really cool. I know everyone's asking, they want the customization, be able to make your own stadium, kind of like what the MLB The Show for 21 is going to do. But to be honest, I've seen the videos on it. That customization looks pretty garbagey, to be honest. And I'm not a huge fan of the game. I bought a PS4 just to play MLB The Show 20, and I was massively disappointed in that game. To me, it was slightly better than RBI baseball, and that game sucks majorly. Not going to say my true feelings on it because it's, I'm trying to make this family friendly, but RBI baseball sucks. MLB The Show 20, not that much better, to be honest. So what, you've got an MLB license. I don't care. I can make the entire, major leagues in a week. I can do the logos, I can make all the players, I can look at their stats and what general consensus of what their abilities are, and boom, I can have an entire team. It's not that hard to do. So that's why I prefer creating your own stadium would be really cool. If I was going to do that, I'd do Wrigley. I'm a Cubs fan. Or want to get nostalgic, how about the Polo Grounds? I mean, that would be insane. Really short left and center field lines, but then that monstrous, really long center field. I think that would be really crazy to do something like that. I would love end of the season awards. You know, obviously you're not going to be able to say things like the Cy Young, or Silver Slugger because those are copyrighted, but you could easily work. You could do starting pitcher of the year, closing pitcher of the year. You don't have to say Golden Glove, just say Platinum Glove. Same thing with Silver Slugger, say Gold Slugger. I mean, there's so many ways around. Or you could just use some of the players. If you want to sit there and say your Triple Crown winner could be the Hit a Moonshot, award, things like that. So I would love to see end of season awards. I think that was really cool. I do like the feature they added where you kind of have like the MVP race when you're looking at your season stats. That one I thought was really, really cool. It's a little arbitrary, but I can't really complain. Again, it's an arcade game that we're asking for an awful lot of simulation stuff. And when you think about complaining about this game, remember there's 13 people that work for Metalhead. It's a small Canadian software company that's made the best baseball game on the planet. So cut them some slack. They don't sit there and have hundreds of people working for them. They don't have hundreds of testers and things like that. It's a small company. Like you look at RBI and MLB, the show, they're the Maddens of baseball games. They make very few changes every year, and they turn the same garbage out every single year. SMB 2 was a monstrous step up from the first one. If any of you remember the first game. So then you look at how much better it got. The second one graphically it was 1,000,000% better. And then they went out and they, did microtransactions, and you could have more layers. You could have more uniform options. You got a couple of new stadiums, and for a couple of bucks, it was worth it because most of us didn't even pay for the game, because we got it on, the Xbox Pass, the Game Pass, and then 3 comes out, smoother animations. It's a tougher game, very much tougher. What was it? 2 more stadiums, or no, 3 or 4 more stadiums added, and new animations. You're able to watch games if you want to watch them. And they're continuing to add on to it, and they listen to us to some extent for what they can do. And remember, we're in a pandemic, but I think that those are easy things, and it's an easy ad. Maybe not for SMB3. If they choose to do 4, please do 4, because that would be great. I'll be perfectly honest. If they added most if not all these things that I'm asking for and that I've seen other people ask for in this game, I would gladly pay $100 for the game. That's how much I love this game. I know a lot of people ask for an all-star game. I don't necessarily care about that, but I would like to have an all-star team. I think it'd be really cool to for them just to say, here's the best at each position in each league and overall. One thing I would love to see, it'd be great to see lifetime stats versus a certain player. So like when your batter's coming up and you're facing this pitcher, what's your lifetime, batting? Are you 1 for 84 against this pitcher? Are you 13 of 15 against this pitcher? Hit a lot of home runs or stuff like that. I think that would be really kind of a cool feature to add. That's a bit much of an ask, but I think that'd be pretty cool. I think it'd be very awesome if the game could track your individual records, like for your seasons, and more importantly, I would love it if there was like an all-time, like if you did 162 game season, that's how I do it, and you do it as a specific logo or ego, sorry, and you can't change it. So like say I play at ego 75, so at no point could I change the ego. I couldn't, you could move it up if you want, but you can't change it down. So we'd say, this is the record for 162 games for batting average. at a 75 ego. Here's the record for home runs in a, you know, 20 game season, at ego 50, and have those posted online. I think that'd be fantastic. That'd be so cool because I would give someone a challenge. It's like, hey, if I play at this ego and I hit a lot of home runs, well, and I want to challenge this, all-time record. I think that would just be kind of something, be a lot of fun. Franchise contracts. I'm starting to warm up to the franchise mode, but I hate the fact that I'm going to lose a player or two every single season because they're going to double their request of how much money they want. Now, there's ways to get around that. I played around with it a little bit just to see if you could cheese the system, and you can make a team that's all max stats, make them all max age. I think it was 49. And what'll end up happening is sim a season, and all but pretty much almost every single player will retire because they're old, and then the rest will leave by the end of the next season, and you'll have 180, 200 million something on your salary cap, so you can pretty much afford any good player you want. If they leave, you can still go out and get another superstar. Another way to do it too, I found, just to cheese the system, is make your players really good, play at a high ego to make it fair. Take all the other teams and drop their stats down to next to nothing so that they have no salary cap. Like, they have a very minimal one, so they can't afford anybody. And then you'll be likely to keep your own players. But I don't like the fact that you have to do that to keep. And like, if I'm making a team, I'd like to be able to reasonably keep that team for 5 to 7 years. I don't think that's a big ask, and I think contracts would be pretty cool. I don't think you necessarily need to make it where we have to negotiate, but if the player says, I want this over this many years, and it gives you a way to say, hey, I know that this guy's really good, and I got 3 more seasons with him, and then he's going to leave, and I'm going to have to replace him because there's no way I can afford him. That would be pretty cool to know, instead of just all of a sudden getting surprised that your best player, almost every single season sits there and goes, oh, well, I was making 8.2 million. Now I want 16.8 million. Oh, now I want 34 million. Oh, no, now I want 49 million. That's just very frustrating. It's hard to keep that going. I would love for longer injuries. To me, it'd be more realistic, especially like prorate them, for the season. If you're playing a 20 game season, no guy should be injured for more than a game or two. If you're playing a 162 game season, how about an 8 to 10 game injury? Like, that could be your major injuries. If it's a pitcher, maybe you have to miss 2 or 3 starts. Yes, that would be a challenge, and maybe we get around it. I mean, we do have potential for 5 starters. Maybe add another reliever, and maybe add another, bench player, so you could do that. But I'd also like it too, where when you create your own team and you're starting to change, their stats to get them the way you want them, it'd be kind of cool if you had to say, hey, I want to be a small market team that has to develop and build, so you get a smaller cap, and then you have a certain amount of points to allocate. Or you sit there and go, hey, I'm a major market powerhouse team with lots of money behind it, so you can start off with lots of money like that. Let's just say you could start off with, like, say, a salary cap similar to the Oakland A's, which is garbage. Or then you can move up to something like, you have the option of being like Boston, or Boston or New York, or maybe a little bit lower with like Chicago, or things like that. That would be kind of cool to have that, where you say, hey, you're going to have 80 million, or you're going to have 100 million, you're going to have 130 million, or whatever, and then you can tweak your players so you can't sit there and have too great of a team, to start with. I think that'd be kind of cool to do. Obviously a draft would be kind of cool. If you start off, and I wouldn't say like an every season draft. I mean, that would be kind of cool. Maybe you can draft to like 1 or 2 players, put them in a minor league system. But I think a draft to start a season off, I think would be kind of cool. Um, Make the game a little different. All right, so where my biggest beefs in this game, I don't like the fact that the CPU does not play to the stats of the players. And I've actually had dialogue with Metalhead, or they're on their Super Mega Baseball Twitter page. I've gone back and forth with them, and they deny this, but there seems to be a vengeance factor. You get a lead, and all of a sudden the computers, especially the higher egos that you play, I play at 75, and I've heard people who play, having these problems at 50 and above. And sometimes I hear people at the lower league egos have this issue too, but especially in high egos, where you can have a lead, and all of a sudden the computer, every player just jacks the ball. Every player seems juiced all of a sudden out of nowhere. I'm going to give you a great example. I had a game where I had a 3-hitter going through 7 innings. I'm up 4-1. I scored 4 more runs. Then, in the bottom of the 8th inning, I give up 10 straight hits. Every single hit was hit at 90 plus power. Every single hit was a very sharply hit ball, all singles. Now I'm down 9-8. As soon as they get the lead, all of a sudden it's lazy fly balls, soft groundouts. We go to the 9th. I scored 2 runs in the 9th. Bottom of the 9th, computer hits 5 incredibly sharp hit balls. And when I say these are sharply hit, I'm playing a team that was a defensive speed pitching team. They were a 1-bar power, 0-bar contact. Under no circumstance should a team like that be hitting the ball that hard and getting that many hits on me. That's just absolutely ridiculous. I'm a 5-bar pitching team. I like pitching. And so it just seemed a little ridiculous. And one other quick one is I had a game that I won 2-1, and I gave up 20 hits at Ego 75. The 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th innings, they loaded the bases with the first 3 batters. I'm not kidding. And I had to work my way out of it. I was shocked that I only gave up 1 run, but I was pissed. Actually played better pissed. I was pissed off that every single inning is 3 hits, and I'm fighting my way out of a base loaded. I really wish I would have videotaped it for proof, but it was amazing. How do you find me a baseball game where a team got 20 hits and only got 1 run? I guarantee you that doesn't happen often. I think the computer gets way too many hits. I would like that vengeance factor turned down. Play to the stats. If the team is a power hitting team, fine, they can hit for power. But if they don't have a contact, they shouldn't be hitting lots of home runs. They should be popping them up and grounding it out and lining them out because they don't have the contact. If they're a contact and don't have a lot of power, they shouldn't be sitting in there and hitting 450-foot home runs on a regular basis on you. Those things shouldn't really happen. Play to the stats. That's all I ask. The 2-strike amazing hitting, yes, we all gripe about that one. That's one is, wow. The latest update did adjust that to a point, but on the other side, they also made it pitching a little harder by making the reticle move a little faster. And once you adjust to that, though, I found, I can get a couple more strikeouts here and there. But the computer still gets way too many hits, way too much contact on 2 strikes. It's not realistic. I get it. It's arcade. I get that. But baseball strikeouts are part of the game. And my best game, I did 20 strikeouts at Ego 62. At 65, I've done 17. At 70, I've done 15. At 75, I've had 115. Shocked me that I got it. But normally I'm in the 3 to 7 range. I mean, that's kind of garbagey when I'm a pitching team. When I would be at lower egos, I could sit there and lead the league in strikeouts. So now I'm sitting there watching my best pitcher. I didn't make him any worse. And all of a sudden, it's like I'm only getting 5 to 7 strikeouts a game with my best pitcher. And I'm watching the computer just rolling up all these strikeouts, and they're getting, they're leading strikeout guys 260, 270 strikeouts, and it's like, I can barely make 180. It's like, come on. Strikeouts are part of the game. Let's have strikeouts, especially at the higher levels. If you hit your pitches, you should be able to get more strikeouts. Long time gripe. Nerf the 6-foot vertical jump. Come on, guys. I understand robbing a home run's kind of cool. Line drives that should be singles should not be caught by a guy jumping more than his height. Shouldn't be happening. Let's nerf that. Let's get that back down. That's really more of my gripes. I like the game. I love the game. To be honest, it's a really fun game to play. I would like to see a little more customization as far as, like, it'd be really cool if you could have your logo, in the on the on-deck circles, or just on the sides of the field, or even on the field itself. It'd be really cool just to have your team logo on there, or have a flag flying off in center field with the logo, whatever team you've got going on, or maybe change the colors a little bit, in the stands. I do love the jerseys. Like, I've had a couple of games where, I've got some colorful jerseys. I've got my Voodoo team plays out of Lafayette, and I posted pictures of it. It's just absolutely stunning to see a sea of purple in that particular stadium. And there's certain colors, like, this one you can see at the Diablos, there's an awful lot of red out there. I do like the fact that it shows the opponent's colors too, so that you can have a fan show up. I think it'd be really cool though if your team sucks, you're not playing well, you don't have a lot of fans, less crowd noise. And maybe it would be cool that if you're in the thick of a playoff hunt, or even in the playoffs, and your stadium's packed, and it should be an electric feeling. There should be extra tension, and it would be kind of cool if you've got some players that, maybe a new trait to add is, struggles in pressure, or rises to the occasion, in pressure. But like, one of the gripes we talk about strikeouts, I put all my pictures, I give them the K. The K-man attribute doesn't make a damn difference. I'm not getting any extra strikeouts for it. So that's just a couple of things I would love to see added to this game. And honestly, tell me what you think. Put it in the comments. Let's get some dialogue going. It's stuff we could talk about, and even in another video, is what other things would you like to see? All right, that's my 2 cents, and thank you for your support. Bye.